Welcome, everybody. You're an Artist on Record, your ultimate intimate conversation with your favorite artists. And if you love rock and roll as much as we do, music from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, music of today, stop, subscribe, hit the bell to be reminded so you don't miss any other episodes. And if you want to get a chance to chat with your favorite artist, we have an all-access backstage pass where you could actually be a part of the interview. Links are down below in the description. And who's in the hot seat tonight? John Cafferty from John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. He has a new greatest hits album. Links will be in our description. Order it now. But tonight, we're going to talk about the legend of the dark side. It still continues. But in the meantime, don't touch that dial. It all starts now. Bam. One of your songs is always on my playlist when I work out in my gym. When I want to feel my Rocky Hearts on Fire, it's always there.
I used to get a gig with him.
Really?
Yeah, I was going to a gig up in, where the heck were we playing? We were playing up in New Hampshire a few weeks ago, and my phone rang, and it said Sylvester Stallone. And I said, you got to be kidding me, right? So I didn't think it was real, so I answered the phone, and he said, hey, Johnny, how you doing? It was him.
It was
so
him.
I said, so I answered the phone, hearts on fire. He started laughing. He said, oh, man, that was so great. I want to thank you for doing that. That was such a great moment in film. You know, it's one of the greatest workout scenes in the history of cinema. And he said, your voice was right on top of it. I said, man, I had the easy part. I just sang the song. You had to climb a mountain and fight a Russian after that. You know? But it was good. So we went there. He said, I see you're going to be down in Atlantic City, and you know, I wonder if you could come over and my brother Frankie's playing at the Hard Rock on the same night that you're playing down in Summers Point, where they shot Eddie in the Cruiser. So I worked it out with the promoter, my friend Carmen, and we were all set. We swapped spots with the opening act, and we went up and played with Frank and Sly Stallone.
Oh man, how cool! That's really
cool.
So
man.
So when was the last time you spoke to Stallone, to Sly? You
know, probably, you know, it's been decades. It's been decades, you know. But, you know, we went out to dinner. We caught up. You know, it was great. He took the band out to dinner, him and Frank. And, you know, we sat around trading notes and trading stories. And it was great fun. I mean, he's the kind, I mean, he's a brilliant guy. Great writer, you know.
Great
I mean, people
writer.
See him as the characters that he plays, and he is all of that, but he's also the creator of those characters. You know, he wrote those movies. He wrote most of the movies that he was in, especially early on. You know, I mean, right out of the block. I mean, the guy
Totally.
wrote Rocky, won an Academy Award.
They didn't even want him in the movie, I don't think, according to the history books.
Yeah,
originally.
yeah, that's what they say. Yeah,
that's what,
it's hard to imagine, you know, with it's one of the most iconic characters of all times, and one of the most you know, universally relatable stories. You know, everybody can relate to that.
But any Rocky story, it's like a Bible for motivation. And if you're trying to build something, trying to build your career in life, we're always reinventing ourselves. You know,
Sure.
especially in the music business. Hearts on Fire. When I don't want to do extra sit-ups, you know, I put that on. It gets you going. In the head, I feel like I'm going to fight the Russian. So you and Stallone are like motivational for ADIKA over here. So I thank you for that. You know,
yeah, it was a wonderful opportunity.
How did you get getting the Rocky into that soundtrack? Getting Stallone. How did you first meet him or get, you know, hey man, I like your music. How did you get picked for the Rocky soundtrack?
He knew about us. I mean, he was in a movie called Lords of Flatbush, like many years
Perry
ago.
King, Henry Winkler. Great.
Yeah. Hey kids, the next song is dedicated to Butchie, Chico, Wimpy, Stanley, Franny, and Annie, the stars of the new movie, The Lords of Flatbush.
Yeah. So, and the director of the movie was Marty Davidson. So Marty Davidson, the next movie he directed was, he directed these sort of, I don't want to say low budget, but he made these movies that didn't have a lot of funding. So he got talented but sort of unknown talent to be in the film. So Lords of Flatbush, he's got the Fonz and he's got Rocky in it before they're the Fonz and Rocky. So the next movie he makes is Eddie and the Cruisers, and he's got Tom Berenger in it. He's got Ellen Barkin in it. He's got Joey Pantoliano, who's been in every movie that's been made since 1983. And he had us, and we were an unknown entity outside of the Northeast, and so Sly was aware of us, and he was aware of the movie, and he was aware of our story, which is talking about Rocky. I mean, here we are, bar band extraordinaire, been together for like a decade plus, and just couldn't get a break. And this was our break, and we got a shot at the title and sold 3 million records. So he liked that story. He could have wrote that story. I'll always
be with Kenny Vance. First of all, how did you guys connect?
Well, as legend has it, Kenny Vance, as you know, but maybe the folks who are listening don't know, he was in a band called Jay and the Americans. Great vocal group from the 60s. This magic moment. We're living the musical dream that I could only imagine at that point. They were, they had, top 10 records. They were on Ed Sullivan. They were, they played with the Beatles, the Stones. I mean, you lived the life.
The names of the biggest names, yeah.
Right.
The Bible of rock and roll right there.
Right. And his producers were Lieber and Stoller. So for those of you folks at home, you look up Lieber and Stoller, they are very, very close to the big bang of rock and roll. I mean, they work with Elvis Presley, they work with Phil Spector, they work with the Drifters, they wrote Stand By Me with Benny King. I mean, on and on and on and on and on, so that was Kenny's connection to it all. Very, very close to the inspiration of musicians like myself. And so he's walking down the street in Greenwich Village, night off, I guess, and here's the music coming out of this little joint called The Bitter End on Bleecker Street. You can hear the sounds of the saxophone and the drums, and and comes in, check out what's going on, and sees our band. And never knew he was there. Never got to meet him. Didn't know anything about it, but I know he left with a smile on his face because, it was quite a while after that, maybe like a year or so later, he called up and he had a movie script of Eddie and the Cruisers, and was asking us if we'd be interested because he thought our music would fit. With the idea of this movie, which is a band, from that time period of the 60s, and our music is made up of those elements, like the 50s and 60s. I mean, we're pretty, we sort of wear our influences on our sleeve,
Mm-hmm.
So all the roots of what we do, you can hear in our music, hopefully.
So this is how you hooked up with him. He's just walking down the street. I mean, that's how he found you guys, just hearing this band in the village. That's crazy.
There he was, just walking down the street.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. That's a
I
crazy
mean,
story.
you know, that's how the legend goes. So, you know, I'm you know, I don't know if it's true, but I'm sticking to it.
You don't stick through the legend. I think it's a good legend. That was John Cafferty of the Beaver Brown Band. If you want to order his greatest hits now, links are going to be in our description down below. In this video, you can find it all unedited, uncut in our VIP backstage pass. Until then, kids, it's only rock and roll, and we like it. Remember, who loves you, baby? We do. See you later. Now get out of here, you crazy kid.